Okay, I'm going to now do the outro for this episode. And I'm videoing this one as well, as you can see, because you're actually watching it. Yes, just finding a comfortable position here to sit down at. I think we're ready to go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's see. Okay then. Okay. So imagine a bleepy noise, which signals the fact that the previous part is finished, and then we will start. Okay, bleepy noise, record. Hello everyone. So that was the podcast in the street with Amber. And did you manage to catch the 12 idioms? Idioms? That's not normally how you say that word. Don't normally say idioms. Idioms. Idiots, maybe. Idioms in this case. So, did you catch the 12 idioms? Let me just run them by you again, just to make sure that you've got them. And don't forget, all of these idioms are printed on the page for this episode on my wonderful website. So there was to cost an arm and a leg, which means if something costs an arm and a leg, it means it's very expensive. Those cameras must have cost an arm and a leg. As a rule of thumb, which is just basically a way of saying as a general rule. As a rule of thumb, as a rule of thumb, you should probably avoid crocodiles as a rule of thumb. Most of them will try and eat you. I don't know, some of them might be friendly, but I imagine that most of them will try to eat you alive. So as a rule of thumb, it's probably a good idea to avoid them. Okay? Alright, so we had to flog a dead horse. He's just flogging a dead horse. That means doing something that's futile, doing something that's kind of never going to work. Something that's futile. You're flogging a dead horse. Then we had to get back to the drawing board, which is like to start again, to plan the whole thing again from scratch, to start again. So, back to the drawing board, I suppose. To be over the moon means to be delighted. I'm absolutely over the moon to be going home for Christmas, for example. Or, when my son passed his English exam, I was over the moon. Next one is to hit the nail on the head, to say something which is absolutely and totally accurate, like to totally get something specifically, perfectly right, especially when you're describing something or summarizing a situation, or you really hit the nail on the head there. All right, what else? We've got to drive someone up the wall, which means to drive someone mad or to make someone really annoyed. Like they keep doing lots of building work in the house next door, and all night they're hammering and drilling. It's driving me up the wall. Okay. There was to find your feet, which means to establish yourself. For example, it can take a couple of years to find your feet in an industry. It can take several years to find your feet in the banking industry, for example. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. Hold on. Slow down or wait. Hold your horses. To go the extra mile, which means to make an extra effort. And the ball is in your court as well, which means it's your turn to make a decision. Also, you may have heard in this episode the expressions to get fired and to be let go. If you get fired or if you are let go from your job, it means that you're dismissed. For example, I think the example that Amber gave in this episode of a reason for getting fired would be if you urinated on your boss's desk, which I think is definitely a sackable offence in most companies that I can think of. So, for example, if you urinated on your boss's desk without him asking, or without her asking you to do it, you'd probably get fired or they would let you go. We also had a housewarming party, which I think probably most people know. A housewarming party, that's when you've moved into a new house and you invite your friends around for a drink and you have a housewarming party to sort of welcome you into your new home. The next one was to see red. You might have heard that one. To see red. If you see red, it means that you suddenly get very angry, right? Some people say that there's this thing called the red mist, which is like this sort of I don't know if it's real, if you really do see red, or if it's just an expression. But it's an expression that we use to say when someone suddenly gets very angry and they lose control, they see red. And then finally, of course, you heard to have your cake and eat it, which I think I explained during the episode. And anyway, you know that one already, don't you? You can't have your cake and eat it. Britain can't have its cake and eat it too over Brexit. Sort of thing you read in a newspaper headline. So I'd like to say now, it's over to you. The ball is in your court, because I'd like you to write some comments on the website, including what's your version of the idiom, you can't have your cake and eat it too. What's your version of that idiom? By the way, I'm videoing this, right? I'm videoing this one for the website. So if you do visit the website, you'll see a video of me talking at the end of the episode here. And you just heard me pause there because I was looking at my sleeves, because I reviewed the video I did for the introduction. And I noticed that there was something on one of my sleeves, like a crumb of bread or something like that. And I'm just looking for it, but I think it's fallen off. Okay, that's one for the video viewers. If you're not watching the video, then you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. Bits of bread on your sleeve. Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. Okay, so the ball is in your court, because I want to read your comments about what's your version of the idiom, you can have your cake and eat it too. Also, another question, what's your favourite idiom in English? Because most people have got a favourite, like an expression that they like. And also, do you have, in your language, equivalent expressions to any of the other expressions that I've given in this episode? All right. Now, here's some other stuff that I want to just mention at the end of this episode. And one of them is a message. I got a message from a Chinese lepster in China, of course. And this is a message about Pudong near China. Okay, so this is a message from a lepster called Sylvia. And she's talking about Pudong. Now, do you remember in, I guess it was episode 408, when I was talking to Paul and Amber, we were talking about pudding. And then Paul mentioned something about Pudong, which is an area near Shanghai or in Shanghai. And then we made several sort of stupid, immature jokes about it. But also Paul was talking about, a river, and he couldn't remember exactly if Pudong was the name of the river or if that's the name of a place or what it means. And so I got a message from Sylvia, and Sylvia wrote this. She said, I'd just like to clarify something that was said on the podcast in episode 408. No, that's not what Sylvia wrote. That's what I wrote. Okay. All right. So what I want to say is, I'd just like to clarify something that was said on the podcast in episode 408 when Paul and I made some silly jokes about the word Pudong, and we talked about the Pudong area near Shanghai in China. Paul brought it up when we were talking about pudding, and none of us were too sure about Pudong exactly. We weren't sure exactly where it was. So I then got a message from Sylvia talking about it. So I was a little bit worried, to be honest, when I got this message. I was worried that Sylvia was offended by our crappy jokes, particularly mine, as usual. But Sylvia assures me that she's not offended and that she still loves us. So that's all right. In any case, I wanted to read it out because it's got proper information about Pudong. And if you remember, Paul said he wasn't exactly sure what the name meant and what and that one of our listeners could probably clear it up. Well, here is that clarification. So this is Sylvia's message, and she wrote, Dear Luke, I want to make several things clear here in episode 408, in which Paul talked about Pudong in Shanghai. I live in Shanghai now, and the content of the conversation made me feel a bit uncomfortable. Sorry, Sylvia. I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. And then she lists some points. Point number 1, it's not Pudong River. It's actually Huangpu River. Number 2, it's not Pu, P-U. Sorry. It is Pu, spelt P-U, not Pu, spelt P-O-O. Okay? Thirdly, Dong in Chinese means east. And then she's written the Chinese character for east. And then fourth, Pudong is an area which is on the east bank of the Huangpu River. So Pudong is situated on the east coast of the Huangpu River in Shanghai, and it sits in the At the intersection of China's coastal belt for international trade and the Yangtze River estuary, it's backed up by the Yangtze River Delta urban megalopolis and faces the boundless Pacific. Pudong New Area, Pudong, or the New Area, in eastern Shanghai, is named because it is located to the east of the Huangpu River. And there are some pictures, and you'll see these on the website. Now, Pudong New Area has become the economic, financial, trade and shipping centre regionally and internationally. In 20 short years, a dramatic change has taken place in Pudong, changing from farmlands into high buildings and from out-of-the-way villages into a prosperous urban area. Pudong has become the Pearl of the Orient, with world attention, acclaimed as the epitome of Shanghai's modernization and the symbol of China's reform and opening up. Cruising on the Huangpu River, you can see many European-style buildings on the western bank because Shanghai used to be a foreign concession before 1949. At that time, Shanghai was known as the paradise of foreign adventures. Many foreigners, mostly Europeans, came to try their luck here. That's why you can see buildings of different architectural styles here: Spanish, Greek, Roman and Russian. While on the other bank, skyscrapers in the Pudong New Area rear high into the sky, which were all built by Chinese people after 1990. Luke, welcome to China, welcome to Shanghai, welcome to Pudong, and I hope that when Paul comes to your place again, you can show him this and make it clear. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All right. So when Paul does come back, I will show him. I'll go, look at this, Paul. That's what Pudong really is. And I actually replied to Sylvia saying, I'm sorry this made you uncomfortable. No offence intended. I was just making a joke and failing as usual. I appreciate the information about Shanghai. Would you mind if I read out your message on the podcast? And Sylvia replied saying, hello Luke, I knew it was a joke, that's okay. It's just that Pudong New Area has always been a prosperous area in my mind, but from now on, every time I think of it or come to there, it will remind me of those jokes that you made, ha ha. It would be great if you read it on the podcast, because I don't want Paul to mislead people around the world thinking that China has a Pudong River. You can say my name, that's okay. So it's actually Huangpu River, and Pudong is an area sort of to the east of that river. And Sylvia says, and I know Amber and Paul didn't mean any offence, and I always love you. Nice. Sylvia. Okay. So that's all that's that sorted out then, isn't it? That's all that sorted out. Yes, it is. Okay then. So we're pretty much done here. There's music in the background still. We're pretty much done. And thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to join the mailing list, as I always say, because that's the easiest way to get access to the page for every new episode. And other content, for example, videos and things that I post. Don't forget also to check out Spoken. 2 free lessons and then 20% off of English lessons for professionals on WhatsApp. And they're sent straight to your phone by an English teacher. 2 free lessons, 20% off. Go to getspoken.com/LEP. Getspoken.com/LEP, or just click a spoken picture image on my website. All right then. Fine. Good. So, are you ready for Christmas? You ready? Are you ready for Christmas? Good. I'm glad to hear it. Fine. Well, I'm nearly ready. I just need to do a couple of bits of last minute Christmas shopping and then pack. The wife and me are going to pack our bags and then go to the airport and fly to England in about 5 days. And we're having Christmas dinner with her grandparents before we do that on the 24th. It's all very exciting, I'm sure you'll agree. Anyway, I hope that you have a fantastic, magical, wonderful Christmas wherever you are in the world, whether you're on the beach like in Brazil, unless you're in somewhere that doesn't have a beach in Brazil, or somewhere else in the world. Have a merry, 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 merry Christmas and a happy New Year. I'm probably going to upload something between Christmas and New Year I imagine there might be some content arriving. Otherwise, there might be a little bit of a break because I'll be away doing family things, drinking beer and falling asleep in front of the TV, you know, the usual Christmas stuff. But there might be something, so check your, I don't know, check your RSS feed, check your emails, because there may be some content which I'm going to upload and get out to you for you to enjoy. Okay? All right. So that's it for this episode, and I'll speak to you again on the podcast soon. But for now, it's just time to say goodbye. Bye. Okay, so that's that. I felt like both the introduction and the outro there that you've seen on video now, I think they were both extremely sort of messy and disorganized and full of little sort of, I don't know, little mistakes and things. I don't know, maybe that's just the way it feels for me today, because I need another cup of coffee to wake me up properly. All right, thanks for watching this video, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!